Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pinche Gringo Show. Hope you're all doing well, staying safe on what feels like day 1937 of quarantine. We are live in Mexico City, and yes, we are still in a red light situation. The big question is it going to change soon? Waiting for the jefe de gobierno, or loosely translated, chief of government. She's not a governor. She's not the mayor. But for us, she's just Claudia, and we're waiting for her to just give us that green light, the all clear. But while you're waiting, we appreciate you tuning in tonight, and I know it'll be worth your while to stay with us. This is our 5th show. In the last 3 weeks, we've had a pretty smart former congressman / TV news anchor, an ambassador with a very colorful jacket, and a popular former secretary of the economy who is now running for governor of Nuevo León. But as my opinionated Argentinian friend said, and if you don't have one, you should get one. Dan, the show, it's pretty good, but no politics this time, please. All right, fine. Only a little bit of politics. But tonight we will take a closer look at the LGBTQ plus community in Mexico City. We have filmmaker Harry Sama and author and journalist Guillermo Osorno on the show to talk about the history of the gay community. And then later we'll be joined by Cecile, and I don't believe it, but Amy Whitehouse is back to life and will be joining us tonight. But first, if you were busy sunbathing in Cocoyoc and may not have been following the news, here are the week's top stories. 2020, otherwise known as preview of the apocalypse, has not been so easy for our fine city. In addition to dealing with massive pandemic that has been getting worse, Mexico City residents have been thinking, great, all we need is an earthquake. Well, we got our wish on Tuesday with a strong good old 7.5 rocking back and forth at least 500 kilometers away from the city. Or for those who still decide to use this antiquated system that makes little sense 300 miles away from the capital. Nude sunbathers in Zipolite, who are close to the epicenter, made sure they put on their bathing suits before evacuating to higher ground. Those in the nation's capital had about 62 seconds of warning for when the alarm rang until the earth started shaking. And there was a cool 30 seconds where nothing was happening and the alarm stopped. And I thought, is this a false alarm? Is this a prank? And I just sat there imagining inside the office where they ring the alarm. Juan, you see that button over there? Push it. Push it. Jose, por favor, that's the alerta sísmica button. That would be bad. And replied Jose, I'll give you 100 pesos if you push it. Okay. But that didn't happen, actually. After the strange pause, the earthquake started and lasted over a minute. A long one, but thankfully no reported death or damages in the city. It's okay, Frida. You're retired now anyway. You can rest. On Saturday, the Trump campaign organized its first political rally since the pandemic began 3 months ago. Initially, the gathering of border wall lovers was scheduled for June 19th, also called Juneteenth, the annual holiday commemorating where the remaining slaves in the United States, South, were freed. And it was scheduled to take place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where 99 years ago, mobs of white residents attacked black residents, sending over 800 people to hospitals and estimates of between 75 and 300 dead. Which brings us to our English word of the week, antagonistic. Antagonistic, the showing or feeling of active opposition or hostility towards someone or something. After a bit of backlash and fear of rioting in the city, the campaign eventually moved it to June 20th. Campaign manager Brad Parscale, or Chunk from the Goonies, went on the air last week bragging that more than 1 million tickets were requested for the event and even built an overflow area outside the venue to handle the expected massive crowds. The result? A half-full arena and 7 campaign staff members who tested positive for COVID. The overflow crowd outside the arena never materialized. How did this happen with the expected large crowd? Teenage fans of K-pop on TikTok took responsibility for this, stating that they organized the campaign on the popular platform to reserve tickets and stood them up like a bad Tinder date. So really? Hillary Clinton, a year-long investigation, and impeachment was not able to defeat Donald Trump, but a girl named Ashley from Topeka, Kansas, who loves TikTok did. Welcome to 2020. And now for our segment, No Manches. No Manches. In a test of what else 2020 has in store for us, there is a large Saharan dust cloud that has been migrating across the Atlantic Ocean and will hit the Americans this weekend. Meteorology experts say this is probably the worst air quality caused by a Saharan dust in recent memory. Considering people can't travel during the pandemic, it's nice to when we can't travel to the Saharan desert. The Saharan desert just decided to come to us. We're already wearing face masks, so bring it on. The good news is there should be beautiful sunrises and sunsets. They're calling this dust cloud Godzilla because of its massive size. Speaking of Godzilla, the release of the Godzilla vs. King Kong movie was delayed until 2021 because I'm not sure a radioactive lizard and a giant gorilla will scare anybody these days. I mean, I saw Freddy Krueger in my dream last night and I was like, dude, be like Jason and put on a face mask. Pazuzu from The Exorcist almost vomited on me the other day. And I was like, oh shit, you've got COVID. Maybe you should quarantine for 15 days. Yep. Horror movies don't scare me anymore, guys. They really don't. No manches. The Mexico City government this week started slowly reopening a number of metro stations that were closed due to the pandemic, such as Obrera, La Viga, Aculco, and Cerro de la Estrella, which brings us to our list of favorite Mexico City metro stations translated into English. If you're riding down line 12, you may finish your journey in the metro station named Place Where Algae is Gathered. Not sure if you're in the mood for seafood, but if you're headed on line 6 towards Satellite, you may want to stop at the station called Shrimp. If you're thirsty, how about a trip over to stop Where the Water is Gathered at the end of line 9? Or if you want to have a fascinating discovery of really cool places, check out line 8, where your first stop is Where Rattles Are Made. Then meander on down to with a piece of steak to the station named the House of Salt. How about putting on your bathing suit and stopping at Place of Medicinal Baths? And finally, be careful, because this metro station is Where Water Twists. And if you really want to go somewhere where people don't really want to talk to you, travel on line 3, where you can stop at the Place of the Stone People. Yeah, just a lot of really cool people there. There's so many other wonderful names for our Mexico City Metro, and these are just a few translated into English. No manches. Bored people all over the world last week were fascinated with what seemed to be a second wave of gender swap photo editing on the popular app FaceApp, provoking heterosexuals everywhere to think, would I bang myself? Said transgenders everywhere. Ew. So what do you think, guys? Would you prefer Dan or Daniela as your host? No manches. Moving on, Saturday was supposed to be one of the most festive and colorful events of the year on Paseo de la Reforma, the city's gay pride parade. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, this and many celebrations around Pride have been postponed, striking a blow to the community who use this month to celebrate the freedom of expression and diversity that is strong in Mexico City. This is what I know about the capital, a place of tolerance, of freedom and safe expression of love. But it hasn't always been that way. Joining us now is journalist and author of the book, Tengo que morir, todas las noches, or I Have to Die Every Single Night, Guillermo Osorno, and Harisana, director of the recently released film, Esto no es Berlin, This is Not Berlin, both which focus on the underground gay culture of Mexico City in the 1980s. Thank you both for joining us today. Guillermo and Hari, how you guys doing?
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, man. How are you, Hari?
Hola, hola.
Great
that you guys are seeing each other because
well,
take us
we
back
haven't seen each other since the last day I interviewed you for the book.
Exactly.
It was like
I think 20
years ago.
Yeah, 23 years ago.
This is great, guys. Take us back to the 1980s. And I know the time where there was a huge suppression of alternative cultures. Because for me, as a resident of Mexico City for the past 10 years, I've known this city to be an incredibly tolerant place. Like, people can hold hands on the street. There are more gay clubs and bars in all parts of the city. There's a fantastic parade and a huge amount of gay tourism. But what I heard is that even pornography was banned until the 90s. So it seems like when you guys were out in the scene, the city was a different place. Tell us more about it. Memo?
You want to start, Harry?
No, Guillermo.
Okay. Well, Mexico City was definitely a different place. The PRI was ruling the country, and we had a very corrupt government in Mexico City. And so being gay meant that the police can harass you in the street or take you to jail for a night or bargain some mordida. And it was a terrible situation. The other thing is that there were clear rules for bar owners about gay bars. So what happened is that if you want to have a gay bar, you rented a place, invite your friends, and then have a gay night or gay party. But there wasn't an established gay venue in Mexico in the 80s, in the 70s and the 80s. But things started to change, and there was an excellent bar entrepreneur called Henri Donadieu, who came from France. And he had the first well-established gay bar. But the thing is that he didn't conceive a bar as just a place to have drinks, but he conceived the bar as a cultural space, as a space for culture and interchange of ideas. You have to understand that there wasn't internet, and the only way to know what was in fashion, what was what the music, what is the music you should listen to, and all that was just by going to these places. So Henri Donadieu opened a place called El Nueve in 1978, and then he created an underground flow that actually was very successful, not only among the gay people, but also among the heterosexual people. And it was very interesting to have both communities from Mexico City, young people going to the same place to listen to the best music, to listen to have the best time in the city. So actually, the bar that I wrote and Harry was inspired to do his movie was very successful because combined not only alcohol, not only night fun, but also culture. There were some nights.
Yeah, so of course, Harry, the movie that you made, This Is Not Berlin, is based on that club. Is that correct? And this is based on your experiences, right? You attended that club with Memo, and what I heard, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that Harry, you were part of the edgy, like cool group, and Memo, you were one of the fresas in this. There was like two different factions in this club. Harry, was this right? Am I being like putting you guys into corners? Harry? Oh man, did we lose Harry? He had that face. Memo, like we're gonna get Harry back from the show, but can you tell us, Memo, about is this true? Was there like two different factions of or groups of people?
Yes, that's true. Because at the beginning of the El Nueve, of that gay bar, it was aimed to the fresa people, to the upper middle class in Mexico City, and but because of Henri Donadieu, it developed to the more edgy group of Mexico. So at some point, the fresas and the more edgy and the more avant-garde people collided in El Nueve, and it was great fun.
Right. So how did this start? I mean, and how did the change take place over time? because I guess there was an oppressive, was it the Mexico City government that was very oppressive? Was it the federal government? And then how did that start changing over time to where we are today, which is, as I mentioned before, a city where people are holding hands and
exactly. I think the main point was the earthquake of 1985. Civil society in Mexico City took the reins of what was happening in the city, and how took the reins on rescue teams, take the reins on how to help other people, because the government collapsed. And that was very interesting as an experience, as a Mexico City habitant, to see and experience that you do actually have the power. Not the government, not the soldiers, not the army, not anybody, but you and your group of friends that wanted to help other people in this terrible situation. So 1985 was very important to understand how Mexico City started to change and became more free and interesting and colorful and mixed.
Right. Well, we have Hari back. Hari, I'm glad you're back. You're in the U.S. Usually, internet in the U.S. is supposed to be faster than here. What's going on?
I'm so sorry. It was a courtesy of Spectrum.
So, Hari, I was asking you before about these different factions, but this movie is loosely based on your experience, right? You as the lead character. And if anybody hasn't checked out the movie, This Is Not Berlin. It's an excellent film. You must see it. But Hari, what was your experience as, I guess, and your story was pretty interesting because you're straight, and it was you're exploratory, but you kind of went the other way and really solidified your sexuality through this experience.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. I met this people. Basically, El Nueve was that was my school. Basically, I started going to El Nueve way before I was in the age in which I should go to El Nueve. I was Henri was laughing all the time that he allowed people, I was probably 16 when I started going to El Nueve, so I was pretty young, and it felt like for the first time in my whole life I belonged somewhere, and it just made sense to be there. And so my intention was to be gay because I needed to belong to this group of people that were making me feel, in a haven, really. This, and as Guillermo was saying, El Nueve was not only a gay bar; it was an everything bar. It was a bar where you could see probably an incredible movie, and you could see performance being made by this incredibly interesting group of people, and you could see art from Gurrola or from a lot of
David Hockney was there. Yes.
Sorry?
David Hockney and many other
was there.
Very interesting artists from all over the world.
All over the world.
Happened to be at El Nueve at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was
now,
just
Hari,
an incredible place to be.
No. First of all, the acting in the movie was really fantastic, and I'm assuming they were all locals from Mexico City. How did they relate to the subject matter of this movie and what was going on in the movie to what their life is today in Mexico City? Were they able to make connections to that?
Oh yeah, I think unfortunately there's a lot to be and there's a lot to be done still. And Mauro specifically, which I know you know, he took it in a very personal way, and some of the art of the performance art we show on the film actually was born as part of the process that we had in preparing for the film. We actually went through a process in which they became artists in their own right, and they had a lot to say about their own sexuality and what their own individual processes. And I think that's something that brought to the film a lot of truth and a lot of potency and power.
Right. Memo, I know that you're still involved in the community and you know a lot about it today. Is there still an underground scene like what has been depicted in the film and what was written in your book?
No, I think that changed completely. Now the underground scene is on Cuba Street in El Centro. And it's very interesting what's going on there, because you have interesting places with wonderful music, but it's not the same. It's just a completely different scene. Mexico City is now wider. It's have more inhabitants. It's more complex. It's divided. And at that time, Mexico City felt not like a small town, but felt more small. And the fact that me and Hattie were at the same bar, coming from different backgrounds, but at the same time being middle class Mexicans, looking for not only for a drink, for, as Hattie said, for a formative experience. Because really, the first time I saw Nestor Almendro's documentary about homosexuality in Cuba was in El Nueve, because that film was not allowed to be showed in commercial places. Or the first time I saw writers that I admired was in El Nueve, or the first time I hear or listen to rock groups that are now very famous was in El Nueve as well. So it was a very interesting place and a very interesting time to be in Mexico City.
Oh yeah.
Right. Now, Hari, your film has definitely a lot of sexuality and some nudity as well. How is Mexico in particular received it? Are you able to show it in theaters? Is it being widely distributed? Like, what is the take on the movie here?
Well, we did a very good release through Cinepolis. That was at the end of last year. I'm very confused with time. And we did a very good release in the US as well. We went theatrical in the US, which is very hard for a non-English speaking film. So I think it's a film that has really spoken to the new generations, which is something that is really crazy for me, because you know, they knew the music and they knew a lot about the scene. And I think we're kind of like a mirror, Generation X and Millennial. I feel there's a mirror, a very interesting mirror there, because as Guillermo was saying, it's very hard that a real underground would emerge right now with all the information revolution that we had after the 2000s.
Right.
And still there's the need for authentic, authentic search within yourself and outside of something that is really meaningful amongst the possibilities that the millennials now have to, in terms specifically of showing your own sexuality or your interests openly, right?
Yeah, it seems like in a city as big as this one, there should be more outlets for different social groups and different special interests. And hopefully your movie and your book, Tengo que morir, todas las noches, will inspire some of the community to really understand the cool things that were happening in the 80s on the underground scene. There's a Tengo que morir todas las noches playlist. It's in the comments section on Facebook. Check it out. Very honored to have both of you here tonight, Memo Osorno and Hari-sama. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on the show.
Thank you very much, then.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Great to see you, Guillermo.
Thanks. All right, we're going to move on over right now to the lovely, illustrious, and fantastic Regia de la Garza as our famous Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse, how are you doing today?
Oh, hi, Dan. How are you, darling? I'm
good. I can't believe you came back to life. I'm so excited to see you back in the flesh.
I'm chuffed to be here. I'm so delighted, honey.
How are you doing, Amy? Like, how are you doing in this whole pandemic? What are you up to?
Well, not much. The same stuff. Drinking a little bit. Having a bit of puff. The usual.
And we're also joined here by the wonderful, beautiful, incredible, amazing, and if you haven't seen her perform, Cecile. Cecile, how are you today?
Hi, you listen to me?
I can see
hear
you,
me?
of course. We can hear you fine. A little
Yeah.
low, but we're okay. How are you doing, Cecile?
You look lovely, honey.
What?
You
Yeah.
look lovely.
Thank you.
I don't even know what to say. I'm in front of two beautiful women. Ladies, a lot of people really don't know about the drag scene and everything. There's incredible amount of effort and time that takes place in being able to create your characters. Tell us more about the preparation it takes and what you do to get ready for your characters.
Well, in my case, I do a lot of practicing, of course, and a lot of watching documentaries, getting into really getting to know the character. Uh, that's pretty much my job, and listening to her nonstop, you know, uh, all day long until I get to the show. I'm listening and listening and listening, and until I get it right, And for me, it's I have no words, honey.
Yeah, no, I understand. And Cecile, for you as well. Sometimes it's not just about how you look and how you dance, but your facial expressions and your movements and actions are so real and authentic. It really captures our imagination. What's your secret to that?
You want to know my secret?
Of course, I want to know your
Well, it's a lot of. I don't know how to say because my English is not perfect. I'm like Sofia Vergara. And if I can speak in Spanish or
secret. Why not?
Mucho tiempo de preparación, muchos ensayos, a lot of rehearsals. It's watching a lot of videos, a lot of stuff of the art that I do, and it's more say like in Spanish. Es una manera de como conectarme con la vivencia del artista, lo que siente, lo que vive, lo que ha vivido. De esa manera yo conecto con los personajes a los que yo hago. Y yo siempre he dicho que yo los personajes personajes a los que yo admiro por las circunstancias que sean en su vida, que hayan pasado, cómo lo hayan superado, cómo hayan sido mujeres tan emprendedoras, tan feministas en sus tiempos, en su año. Son personajes que yo admiro, o sea, desde una Whitney Houston, Carolina Quintanilla, hasta jóvenes como Ariana Grande. Todas tienen un punto de admiración de mi persona y por eso les dedico tanto tiempo y soy tan meticulosa para crear en mi cabeza el personaje y cómo llevarlo a cabo. Pues yo no, muchos de ellos, la verdad ninguno de ellos los he visto en persona, pero...
Absolutely. But, yeah. So, Amy, tell us about Drag Queen Bingo. Tell us about what it is and what it represents and why people should go.
Drag Queen Bingo is an amazing show for everyone, for people to have fun, people from any kind of, any gender, any preference. It's a mixture of people who are there. They leave the place stoked. They love the show because we put on love. We put
Absolutely.
on so much love into it and so much passion, and I think it shows. It shows. Drag Queen Bingo is all about having fun. It's about playing. It's about winning, and it's about enjoying a great performance from your best and favorite artists.
Absolutely, ladies. And I hope that we're going to be able to see you soon, get out of this pandemic, and that you guys will be back on stage and we'll be able to enjoy the beautiful art, the beautiful work that is involved in making those shows great. Thank you so much, Cecile, Regia de la Garza. We hope to see you soon. And Drag Queen Bingo, we're hoping. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us, honey.
No, beautiful, beautiful. And thanks, guys. And
You look absolutely fit.
thanks, everybody. All right, so let's move on. And of course, the incredible, beautiful, illustrious, amazing Laila Garcia Mora. Laila, how are you doing today?
And you can't say that after those two beautiful women we just had at the show. Like,
I know. No, but look at me, right? Like I'm the ugliest of the bunch with all these beautiful women on the show with me today. Laila, tell me.
you're so fit.
Oh, stop it. We are closed still, right?
Yes, we are still closed, but we are ready to open. We are waiting for news from the city government. From Claudia herself. So maybe tomorrow we'll have good news. If not, we can wait another week. We'll still have our delivery systems, and we are super ready to open in a really safe environment for our clients.
That's great. Now, Laila, 4th of July is coming up soon. It is our premiere event, and unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit different this year. How is it going to be different, and how can we enjoy it from home?
Well, the first thing about 4th of July that I need to share with you is invite all our barbecue lovers to register to our amazing brisket eating contest. This is the 7th year we have done this. We have been doing this, and we have a big prize for the winner. And of course, they'll get to eat brisket. So in case we don't get to open the restaurant, we're going to do a virtual event, and we're going to have a lot of surprises so you can enjoy from home. And we have a special menu for 4th of July, and we have pork belly during the whole month, so you can enjoy from home or in our restaurants, our new menu.
Now, you can register for the brisket eating contest. Isn't that correct? Like you can join and you can compete to be one of the finalists for the contest. How can you do that?
And it's a really fun way. It's a really fun dynamic because you have to register. You can go to our page that it's here, and there's a wish fund publication. So you go there and you post a short video of why you think you can win this contest, and then you get all your friends to vote for you, and the people that get more votes are the ones that go to the contest.
Okay, great. So we got a brisket eating contest. We have a live show and something really cool happening, right? The Pinche Gringo Show will be live on next Saturday night at the contest, so you can enjoy that from your home. It's going to be great.
Big special next Saturday from this show. It's going to be a little longer because we have surprises. We have new guests, and I invite you all to join. It's going to be amazing. You're going to have so much fun, even if you're watching from home.
Great, Laila. Thank you so much for joining us. Laila Garcia Mora, Commercial Director at Pinche Gringo Barbecue. Thanks for being on the show.
Bye, Dan.
In our final word, well, it really sucks that we can't celebrate Pride this year. It's a really good reminder that no matter who we are or who we like, it doesn't matter. We come together around ideas and love and acceptance. Look, I know that most of you decided to make it through the whole show tonight, understand that, and probably aren't a homophobe. But what boggles my mind is that what makes a difference to you, or if someone walks around in a pink tutu or dyes their hair orange? Pride is about bringing people together. And so is the idea of the Drag Queen Bingo, that all communities can come together and celebrate the beautiful art that the drag queen produces. You should try putting on 5 hours of makeup and dancing in heels. It's not easy. A guy told me once, oh, well, I'm not gay, so I can't do that. Why? No one's asking you to have sex with a drag queen. And anyone judges you for going, well, probably they got their own issues. I've even heard comments from the gay community that Drag Queen Bingo is full of heteros. And I understand it's nice sometimes to be around people with similar sexual preferences, but making those comments can be discriminatory too. But there are those amazing comments. Once a guy told me, Dan, I came out to my mom years ago, and we never had a place to go together around people in my community. But we came to Drag Queen Bingo together, and we loved it. That's what this is all about. Celebrating beautiful art, acceptance, openness, and love. And I really hope we return to doing that soon together. Thanks for joining us tonight. As we mentioned earlier, there will be no show next Thursday night, but please join us on Saturday, July 4th for a special edition of the Pinche Gringo Show live from the warehouse, where we will televising the 7th annual brisket eating contest. We'll have fireworks, music, interviews, and great guests and other great surprises. 8 p.m. right here on Facebook Live and YouTube. From all of us at the Pinche Gringo Show, be safe, be well. See you next week.
Pinche Gringo, Mexico is laughing thanks to you. We like to watch you dance salsa and listen to your best Spanish too. We like to watch you almost die from spicy food.